There's something about Fallout that makes me feel a particular way. And no, it's not my very healthy and normal parasocial relationship with Todd Howard. When you're patrolling the wasteland, surrounded by relics of the past, while you yourself are surrounded by a relic of the past, you may find yourself drawn into introspection, which is quickly ended as you indiscriminately blast the head off of raiders. 10 years after the release of the latest mainline Fallout title, amidst the surprising success of the Fallout TV show and the new Anniversary Edition, I implored myself to play this once more to answer the question, is Fallout 4 fun? If you've ever felt anxiety about global politics, you've probably also wondered what life you might lead should things turn for the worse. The Fallout franchise helps you answer the question, letting you imagine exactly which one of these desiccated cadavers you have the highest chance of becoming. Personally, I think I'm one of the ones still sitting on a toilet on account of my crippling lactose intolerance. But enough about me. Environmental storytelling is where Fallout 4 excels, which is in large part due to the surprising depth of the world and the richness of its locations. One such example is this maroon vessel on the coast. You approach it without much expectations of what you might find outside random enemies or loot or whatever, but to my surprise and horror, the ship was filled with not just any ghouls, but Norwegian ghouls. Funnily enough, this exact ship actually exists in real life, blending the fictional and real worlds in a very compelling way, maintaining our awareness of the link between this world, the Fallout world, and our own. Honorable mention to the Chinese submarine.
You're a ghoul.
Mind if our white boys speak a little Chinese?
Fallout is at times ridiculous, expressed not only in its humor, but also its grotesque interpretations of where the future can lead us. It is easy to get lost in that world, seeing it for the work of fiction it is, not remembering that Fallout is supposed to mirror our own world. In its very conception, Fallout satirizes us not only through the titular apocalypse brought on by grand power politics, but also through the residents of the wasteland, who ultimately are just as lost and confused as the player is exiting the vault. Even something simple as this guy selling baseball bats feels very significant when looked through this lens. While it's mostly meant as a comedic bit, with him mistaking baseball bats as the weapon of pre-war gladiators, it's also a reminder of how we too look to our past for meaning, oftentimes without considering the context of the worlds our forebears lived in. To him, violence is as common as sports gambling ads are to us, so why wouldn't these blunt weapons be used for violent ends? All in all, this map is one of my favorites to explore, as there are so many stories to unfold either through explicit means such as terminal NPCs, but also implicitly, simply by walking through the environments and trying to piece together what happened. But what is there to actually do in this desolate wasteland? As it turns out, mostly violence. The first thing that distinguishes Fallout 4 from its predecessors, and from all Bethesda games really, is that the combat is actually fun. Even 10 years later, the gunplay feels very nice, and it's clear they spent a lot of time working on this. You still have so many different fun weapons to choose from, simply walking around shooting raiders with wacky weapons doesn't really get boring. The same applies if you choose to get up close and personal. There's nothing quite like blasting classical music while wielding your trusty flamethrower.
Target acquired.
combat is also aided by a very well thought out crafting system, which offers surprising depth in how you customize your weapons. You have to remember this was in the middle of the survival crafting fad, and which Fallout implemented here, I think, quite well. I'm not really sure why I haven't seen this of a well thought out system in games after Fallout 4. It adds such a compelling layer of creativity to your arsenal that is much more interesting than simply picking up various methods of violence off the ground. Instead of handing a sawed-off shotgun to the player can choose to make their own sawed-off shotgun out of a normal-sized shotgun, which gives a sense of agency but also a sense of ownership over their inventory and a sense of personalization. All in all, the gameplay loop of enter Bostonian residence, violence, loot, craft and upgrade, repeat, works really well. One aspect of the gameplay which I feel obligated to comment on is the settlements. I did not jive with this on release, and I still don't really see the point of it, outside of those crazy settlements that I see on Reddit which make me feel like I've never accomplished anything in my life. Or maybe I have. Anyway, the settlements are not super profitable, they only contribute to the story in niche circumstances, and they're generally painful to construct. Luckily, they're easy to ignore, which is what I did for the most part. I'm sorry, Todd, I know you worked hard on this. Or at least made an intern do it. I'd also like to ask you to take a second to subscribe. The last video did pretty well. Thank you.
Before you know it, we'll have a thriving new farm instead of...
Of all the graphics that ever graphicsed, these aren't the most graphically graphics I've ever seen. Even for its time, these graphics aren't super graphic-y, especially compared with the very graphics of The Witcher 3, which was released in the same year. That being said, most of the graphics besides the NPCs have aged surprisingly well, helped by this ridiculously huge 56GB update. It can be quite nice to patrol the wasteland. Many of the effects and so forth are well done and immersive, and I do not think the graphics are a drawback, mostly. Where it really excels is the art design. Fallout 4's art design manages to make the wasteland look believable, dirty, and grimy, but is often juxtaposed with a colorful, bubbly, retro-futuristic aesthetic which is a reprieve from the constant, grim-dark dread. So many mundane objects are given incredible levels of detail, all from the smallest household objects to massive trains which are intricate and accurate enough to give the train nerds something to drool over. As good as this is, there are still concerns with the Fallout 4, especially in how it departed from previous entries in the franchise. Before you New Vegas nerds get angry with me and excommunicate me from knowing things,
I will find you. Make no mistake. God willing, you will not leave this valley.
let me be clear. Fallout 4 completely fails as a role-playing game. Your backstory is predetermined, meaning the only semblance of personality you can infuse into your characters through dialogue and action. Those aforementioned dialogue choices are, at best, uninteresting, and at worst, completely irrelevant. Most of your dialogue options sound like they were written by a tired robot, and the few sarcastic voice lines that are kind of funny are pretty sparse, and generally you shouldn't expect to make any decisions particularly frequently.
Hi.
Are you here for the scent?
I'm here to pick up an order. 2 large pepperoni and a calzone. Name is Fuck You.
If you're not here for the scent, then you're here for me.
It's not that Fallout 4 doesn't want you to not roleplay, it's just that it wants you to roleplay as the Bethesda person that they've decided that you are, only really allowing you to choose appearance and your name, of course, which I took a lot of creative liberties in choosing.
Hey, Codsworth.
Mr. Humongous.
Is that sexual harassment?
No, it's humongous.
It is certainly a shame, and it does feel like a missed opportunity. And it was clearly a conscious decision to move away from the series' RPG roots. So strong is Bethesda's conviction of this that the next Fallout title wouldn't even have NPCs at all. But of course, they were added later, and we can only hope and presume that Bethesda does actually remember to include NPCs next time. In my opinion, Fallout has some of the most interesting and unique world building in all media. It's why there is such a dedicated audience for exploring the lore itself, even when the last game was released 8 years ago, to humiliating reviews. Fallout 4 remains the best entry point for casual fans, in large part due to its fun gameplay, dense world, and streamlined, accessible mechanics. While its predecessors are arguably better Fallout games, their shortcomings in age make them far less approachable for newer fans. Fallout 3, for example, doesn't even run on newer versions of Windows, as I found out once. I'm sure there's a workaround about it, but it's not convenient for a casual, is what I mean. However, there are rumors of a Fallout 3 being remastered. Hopefully it goes better than the Oblivion remaster, which is of course one of my videos that you should go watch now, immediately, post haste.
Once again, Knight, you don't fail to impress. Dismissed.
What do you think? Did you enjoy Fallout 4, either in 2015 or maybe a bit closer to the present? Are you still looking forward to future entries in the series? Let me know in the comment section below. And thank you for watching. The last video on this channel did surprisingly well. I was sort of taken aback by how well it's done and is still doing. So I'd like to, if you did watch that video and provide support, I'd like to thank you for that. I would also like to say that I will continue to be making these sorts of videos as long as I am able and willing. If you haven't already, do consider subscribing. That number gives me dopamine. Thank you, and goodbye.